Hi, Randy Johnson here. Thank you for joining me for this series on the absolute essentials of faith. This week, we're talking about the resurrection promise for all who believe. Let's watch the video and find out what that's all about.
We've been talking the last several weeks about the basics, the elementary principles of the teaching of Christ, and this week we're going to go on and talk about the resurrection of the dead. How far back can you go and find references to the resurrection from the dead in the Scriptures? Well, I know you can at least go as far back as Job. Job was an early character in Scripture. In fact, I believe they say that the book of Job may be actually the oldest book of the Bible, the oldest book written first, and that Job may have lived during the time of Abraham or somewhere around there. But in Job chapter 19, verses 25 to 27, here is Job. He's lost his children. He's lost his income, really, because he had flocks and herds and everything else. He lost his possessions, and I don't know if at this time or not he had the sickness. He may have even had the sickness in his body where he had the boils, and he had the scraping off the boils with pieces of pottery, and he was in really bad shape. And in the midst of all those trials, in the midst of all that tribulation and all those tests, this is what he says in Job 19, verses 25 to 27. He says, "For I know that my Redeemer lives, and at the last day he will stand upon the earth." And then listen to this. "After my skin," or as the King James Version says, skin worms, "after my skin has been destroyed, yet in my flesh I shall see God." Now, what is he saying there? He's saying that he's expecting resurrection. He knows that his human body he had right then was going to die. Maybe from the affliction that he had at that time. We know that that didn't happen because later on in the book of Job, we read about how God delivered him out of all those troubles and blessed him even more than he was blessed before. But Job didn't know that at the time. As far as Job was concerned, he could be dead in a few hours. He could be dead in a few days. And then his body would be buried, and the natural process of the earth, his body would decay, and the worms would eat it, and it would just be a really, really bad thing for the natural body. It would dissolve back to the dust from which it came. But Job's expectation was, that isn't the end. He says, "After my skin has been thus destroyed, yet in my flesh I shall see God, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold, and not another." Job was expecting the resurrection of his body. He wasn't expecting to be reincarnated as somebody or something else. He was expecting to come back to life through the power of God as the same person that he was when he died. That's resurrection. Resurrection means that the same person comes back, but not necessarily the same body. Now, I don't have to get into this today. I don't have time to get into this today. We will later on because I already decided this is going to take more than 1 week to go through. I got 11 pages of notes again, but I didn't bring them all. So don't worry. But Job expected resurrection. He says, "Yet in my flesh I shall see God, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold, and not another." So he expected two things. He expected a new body, and he expected to come back as the same person that he was when he left.
I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you can have notifications of future videos. Also, be sure to leave some comments down below. God bless you. Have a good week.